Welcome to the Illuminated Path, where I give you a Thursday to Thursday reading. This Thursday, in continuation of some of the things we've been seeing, I'm continuing to see deepening levels of shadow work happening here. But not just what's behind the scenes, but what we are displaying in our lives. Remember last week I said that you can have those big moments, but then it's what you do with it afterwards. It's all of the little steps that you take. It's the integration of your learnings into your life that brings about that big change. And this is what I'm seeing a continuation of, if not a heightening of, in more in-depth way. So the first card that I pull here is the Jeweled Web. So when I get this card, this is all about the heart space. This is all about love, but the kind of love that connects you to all other living things around you. Remember that this isn't just like romantic love. This is the kind of love that is agape, the kind of love that is life force energy, the kind of love that is the soul of everything, the plants and the animals and the spirits. But then the two cards I get after that, they're not like super positive, just right on the surface, but bear with me, it'll be positive, I promise. So the next one is the Dream Thief, the refusal of the call. And what I'm feeling is that while on this surface, suddenly everything feels calmer, like it's looking up. It feels like we're able to see more beauty in the life around us and maybe even in nature. Maybe the heat is starting to come down a little bit. Things are starting to settle. Maybe all of those people who were irritating you or you were having these issues with are starting to fade into the background. But what this card says is, remember love. And if it doesn't feel in alignment with this, with connectivity, with openness, with vulnerability, there are things that you have refused to address. And it's time to address them. And in a loving way. This doesn't mean that we have to run people over or say, yo, this is happening. But there may be things from 3 years ago or 5 years ago or 15 hours ago that for the sake of keeping peace or just because you didn't want to create drama, maybe you didn't really address, but it didn't sit right with you. It doesn't feel honoring or loving or respectful for you. And it's okay to know what your triggers are in these situations, but also understanding that actually wasn't a respectful or loving or kind thing for that person to do to me or my family or whoever's involved. And these are places where we get to no longer refuse to address that, where we get to not just suppress our feelings or be quiet or keep the peace, but we say in a loving way, you know what, that's not really in alignment with something that I feel is respectful. And we get to address those things. The third card is the getting back to integrity card. The reason that we are addressing these things and no longer refusing to talk about them is because this is the thing that's separating us from love. We have to be able to address that so we are not separate from love. And we do it with integrity because now we're on a higher level, right? We're on a healing path. That doesn't make us better than other people, but it does make us more aware of our actions. It makes us more aware of why we feel the way that we feel. And it also gives us tools. When we're on the healing path, we have more coping mechanisms. We have more tools than the average Joe, okay? So if you're sitting here watching this, I guarantee you have more tools than the average person out there, than your neighbor does, so that you can address these things with emotional intelligence in an integritous way. You can say the things that need to be said without people feeling attacked, because then you're not going to go anywhere, right? Then they're going to have an immediate defense up and take everything defensively. And you're just not going to get back to love in that space. The whole point is that these aren't in a row linearly, but they're like in a circle, okay? They're in a circle. So this one is what we really want to get to. But in order to do that, we have to refuse to push things under the rug, and we have to do it in an integritous way, understanding that we want them to understand that we're trying to get to love, that we're trying to connect with them, that we're trying to be open and vulnerable with them, and this is how we feel loved and respected. And this is also, when we're using our integrity to address things, this is also us doing that in a way where they feel loved and respected also. Because relationships are a two-way street. Just because we've been suppressed in the past or haven't addressed things and things have continued doesn't mean that they don't deserve honor and respect as well. And you're never going to have a healthy relationship if, when addressing your own needs, you can't also address theirs. So keeping that in mind. But while this feels like it has a lot to do interpersonally and in our relationships, what I'm getting is this is really happening on a global scale. This is happening in our politics. This is happening in our government. This is happening something around money and spending as well. So you might not just be interacting with this, you might also be observing this happening. And this is really bringing peace. It really, really is, which is why the earth feels more peaceful, which is why it's more easy to feel the beauty around us right now, even if we have this drama stuff that we're having to address. Because I'm a firm believer that a moment of drama can bring lifelong peace and integrity to your life.